Hi everyone. I want to spend some time today talking about a way to improve the fan and viewer experience of the CrossFit Games, specifically around injury coverage. So if you watched the 2023 CrossFit Games, you knew that Roman Kroenikov broke his foot. It was a storyline that couldn't be missed. You probably know that Justin Medeiros fell off his bike, but we didn't know about that until he was standing at the start line of event 3 with his shirt off, and we saw the damage the handlebars did. But did you know that Sam Kwant fell off his bike? What about Lazar Dujic? He fell twice. Sam Kwant as well. Probably not. Did you know that Nick Matthew and Colten Mertens were carted off to the medical facilities after event 2? Or that Patrick Vellner had his hands looked at and taped up by the medical staff ahead of ski bag? Also probably not. That's because all of these items were highlighted in Instagram posts after the fact, or in the case of Lazar Dujic, I found out about that through Hiller Fit's YouTube video. Whether it's falling off the bike, or dehydration, or cramps, or blistered hands, all of these items have the ability to play a significant role in where an athlete finishes over the competition. And for the fan base to be completely in the dark does a disservice for them. When you watch other major sports, whether it's the NFL, NBA, baseball, NHL, when somebody goes and sees the training staff or into the medical tent, you have a field reporter there to report this information back to the commentators and to the fans, so everybody has as much information as possible to enjoy the viewing experience. So if the star wide receiver is hobbling around because they rolled their ankle and isn't 100%, everybody knows this. Everybody will see that this has an impact on the outcome of the competition. In CrossFit, however, we're kind of all in the dark unless it is a major storyline like Medeiros or Kroenikov. And so when we see athletes on the field maybe 3, 4, tops 5 times a year in an in-person competition, not having this information just creates question marks around the sport. You know, did athlete A just not have it this weekend, or were they struggling with an injury? So looking at CrossFit, I think would be a great step forward for the sport for this information to be shared to everybody. We should know if an athlete has fallen off their bike because, you know, chasing down the pack for 40 minutes and blowing out your quads at the start of the competition has effects on the other 11 events over the course of the weekend. If you burnt your hands on the rope and then anytime you have to grab something, whether it's ski handles or a pull-up bar or rings, there's impacts there. And that's part of the storyline of the CrossFit Games. And so for the fans to be finding out after the fact that these factors played a role in how an athlete finished doesn't help CrossFit grow, especially when we only see these athletes a handful of times at most, knowing that one of these 4 competitions that they might be in over the year is kind of an anomaly because they hurt their ankle, doesn't help the sport grow. It doesn't allow the fans to follow an athlete and really understand how they are doing when injury information is only shared after the fact if an athlete chooses to do so. By sharing details of when an athlete visits a medical tent is an easy way for CrossFit to fill some of the knowledge gaps from a viewer standpoint, especially when you have an event like the bike. It's going to be impossible for them to cover all 40 athletes at all moments for a 40-minute event. But if they can relay that these athletes fell off the bike, we, as fans, as viewers, know why they might look flat in the next event. We know why they might look dull over the course of the competition because there was an incident in one event that is impacting their performance throughout the competition. Sharing this information up front is just an easy way for CrossFit to improve the viewer experience. It'll remove all speculation of why an athlete is looking flat and maybe not meeting expectations. I know as a fan, I'd rather find out during the competition what ailments are hurting an athlete versus finding out 2-3 weeks later through an Instagram post of something that happened in the first event of the competition.